Elbaf has given us one of One Piece's sauciest, most interesting characters in the accursed prince himself, Loki. His design is S tier, his backstory is Hall of Fame, and his abilities are literally legendary. There's no way he actually ends up joining the Straw Hats, but the greatest judging character in all of fiction said he's a good dude, so he got the ultimate stamp of approval too. As his flashback was unfolding though, it brought me to the realization that damn near every single Loki in fiction is the same. Not literally, but like low-key.
Oh my god. Oh, hell no.
My fault. But it especially reminded me of Marvel's Loki and everything he's been through. Throughout all of fiction, the GOAT known as Loki is always misunderstood. I think it's really cool that Loki, being the god of mischief, gets framed in a more positive way these days. Loki's a trickster and a deceiver, but in the case of One Piece, not really. The world's perception of Loki is the lie in this story. You would have genuinely thought this dude was Satan's greatest soldier the way everybody was talking about him at the beginning of this arc. He burned villages to ash, beat up old ladies, even boomed his own father. What I like about One Piece's Loki is that all of these crazy stories are technically true on paper, but that's not how any of that actually happened. Like, yes, it happened, but that's not how it happened. His biological mother, Estrid, genuinely set him up for failure, dog. Nobody would have cared about his demonic Tokyo Ghoul eyes if she ain't start tweaking about him frame one of his birth. His mother literally threw him away and tried to get him gone immediately after being born, just because he was child. And Harold was really only a bad parent because he was neglectful. He cared about Loki, but he was literally just never there. Harold's mission and his devotion to Elbaf is like 3x the amount of love he has for his actual family, bruh. And you know, that's not okay, but maybe you shouldn't have had kids if you wasn't gonna, you feel me? But also royalty, I don't know, keep the line going, all type of weird monarch shit, bro. I don't know, bro. But Harold loved Elbaf as a whole way more than his children. Maybe not more than Ida, but more than his children, yes. But yeah, Loki's rough around the edges and kind of a dickhead, but can you really blame him? He gave up on ever being loved before he hit 1 month of being alive, dude. What? So of course, as a kid, he's gonna lash out and seek attention in some genuinely insane ways. Now, there's still giants of Elbaf too, so maybe lashing out for him looks a little more violent, where your average attention deprived kid would, like, I don't know, knock a vase over, start problems, you know, maybe like push a kid. Loki might, I don't know, destroy somebody's house or some chill shit, you feel me? Look, I really need Usopp and Loki to meet, because this nigga right here is the real god of lies. Maybe that's on purpose. Usopp and Loki are going to be in the same room when this flashback ends. At some point before the end of this arc, they're going to meet, and I want to know just what that conversation is gonna look like. Unless Oda really does hate Usopp and we're just not gonna get anything. One Piece's Loki is kind of a fusion of Thor and Loki. He got the legendary Thunder Hammer, Doom, and everything. Did the squirrel eat the devil fruit or did the hammer eat the devil fruit? I guess we'll never know. But Loki doesn't try to fight the evil allegations at all. He got a from a monster to you, then I'm a monster mentality going on. He does have one single friend in this world though. Shout out Mosa, who is maybe probably Shirahoshi. Reading Loki's flashback gave me heavy MCU flashbacks though. That character had a lot of growth and a really long journey to get there, but he started out as just a prince who really wanted his father's love. I mean, he also really wanted to be king of Asgard, but even that started out as an innocent childhood dream that his parents low-key set him up for. I'm not gonna lie, making this video is making me realize how much I say low-key. Like, not low-key, but low-key. Like, low-key, I kind of be spamming that shit. Loki's never really a bad guy. He just lashes out at the world in really grand and catastrophic ways. When you put love in a Loki's life, they actually start to chill out. Thor Ragnarok is such a great showcase of the relationship between Thor and Loki and how complicated it is. Loki's generally very selfish and he be f***ing shit up, but at the end of the day, he does genuinely love his brother. They have such fun banter too. I hope One Piece's Loki and Harden end up like these two by the end of Elbaf. Their relationship got a lot more venom in it though. They actually kind of hate each other, or at least that's how it seems. Loki is the lord of instigation with his brother, dog. He's constantly disrespecting the f*** out of Ida, beating Harden up, rubbing in the fact that he's an ancient giant, rubbing in the fact that he got more swag than him, has a cooler design, a cooler backstory, cooler abilities, etc, etc. I mean, Loki really shitting on this man, I can't lie. But Harden got friends and Loki don't, so who really went in here? I think by the end of the flashback, they're gonna have a much better understanding of each other. And Ida's like one of the 5 motherfuckers on the planet he actually does genuinely love. Bro, how do you say her name? Is it Ida or Ida? Because look, my brain wants to default to Ida because One Piece is a Japanese story, but Elbaf is like European as hell, and I don't know what they got going on pronunciation wise. So like, is it Ida? Is it Ida? Is it some third option that I don't know about? I genuinely don't know. She's one of the few people who showed him real life unconditional love. Maybe Loki the only person. I said Loki again. end. Harold technically also did show Loki unconditional love, but the nigga was just never there to actually show that love. If Loki and Harold got to have an actual talk about Harold's whole past before the nigga got boomed, that would have been so eye-opening for Loki, because he could have actually been like, yo, I was like just like you. I was wilding when I was your age. But instead, you know, he had to be a king and really like save his country and shit. So it's like, I don't know. And well, save his country asterisk. Heavy asterisk. Cause I got some thoughts about Harold, bro. And got some Rocket Raccoon tendencies, but like, that's a video for another day. If Loki could actually be honest about his feelings, maybe these two could have got right with each other a lot earlier. Harden might be a fraud, but he's actually a cool motherfucker. Imagine the AU where he gets Ace's fruit, bruh. Giant flaming warrior would be so hard. I think it's neat that he went after the fire fruit, and the sun god is a huge part of Elbaf's culture. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but that's very interesting to me. Also, look, agenda piece is funny to me, I can't lie, but like, Harden's not really a fraud for real. It's just that like, when you compare him to Loki and his dad, yes, the nigga don't look all that crazy, but like, Harden's like the captain of the new giant warrior pirates. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. And he's also like, I don't know, one of the more memorable members of the Grand Fleet, you know? I think come Final War, Harden gonna tighten up, maybe. And I'm really only saying that because the narrator kind of already spoiled us back on Dressrosa, and then he said that the entire Grand Fleet was going to do something crazy. So Harden's gonna be there when something crazy happens with the Straw Hats. So he can't be that washed, you know what I'm saying? He can't be that washed. Now if Loki's there, yeah, I'm sorry, Harden. I think Loki's just destined to be a GOAT in every universe though. Marvel's Loki's known as the god of stories now instead of just straight up mischief, because a lie is more or less just a story, and that feels like such a creative way to transform the character and what he represents. Like, being the god of mischief feels like you're just destined to be a bad guy, and that's just not true. Nobody's destined to be anything. Like, you choose your fate. Ain't that beautiful? Loki hasn't been a straight up bad guy in decades, and even back then he wasn't truly evil. He did do some crazy fucked up shit though. Invading Earth and trying to subjugate the whole population is kind of not cool. I'm not gonna lie, bruh, that's not cool. But then he got over all that and realized what he really wants out of this life is a little more complicated. All Loki ever really wants is love and acceptance, and he always has to fight so hard for it. But it's so bittersweet and poetic that by the end of his story, in the MCU at least, he finally got to be king of everything. Kind of. He's sitting in the throne. He's literally the guardian of the whole multiverse now, or rather the cultivator or curator of the multiverse now. He's keeping it healthy and nice and stable until Avengers Doomsday comes and I don't know, fucks everything up. But like, for right now, up until the end of this year, Loki's keeping the multiverse in such a nice garden. What's the word for like a gardener who likes like a botanist? I don't know. But like, Loki turned the multiverse from like this one little weird looking branching line thingy into a beautiful blossoming tree of infinity, bruh. The whole multiverse is now Yggdrasil. That's beautiful. Every iteration of this character finds such creative ways to keep the whole liar motif going. One Piece Loki's bad reputation is built on lies. Marvel Loki is the ultimate trickster god until he becomes the god of stories and the whole multiverse. God of War Loki's a bear. I'm sure there's something there. Even Fairy Tale Loki lied about being a celestial dragon and disguised himself as a regular wizard for the first section of the series. Although I think that Loki's name is spelled with an E at the end, but they pronounced it Loki, so like that still counts, okay? Even though he's actually Leo the lion, but like that was Loki. Look, it's close enough. One Piece's Loki might have the greatest design of all the Lokis out there. The blindfolded eyes are such a unique identifier for him, and it's also kind of a fun way to subvert the pirate eye patch trope. We still waiting on that eye patch character to show up, dog. My money's on either Joy Boy or the man with the burn scar, or Luffy himself by the very end. Somebody gonna get that eye patch. That's like one of the last main pirate things that we're waiting on, bruh. And also, somebody gotta walk that plank. I'm not gonna lie, somebody gotta walk that plank. I can't wait for Luffy to see Loki's actual eyes and tell him how cool they look, because his birth mom looked at them and immediately decided he gotta perish for having them. Yeah, maybe he did look like a little giant demon baby, but that's still a baby, dog. A cool looking one at that. You know Loki built different straight out the womb though, because he had to climb his way out of the underworld right after being born. Getting thrown out by your mom for being hideous is the most One Piece ass backstory of all time. Oh my goodness. Free this Loki. The hat with the line long ass ancient giant horns poking through is so elite too. He got the little chopper bandage on one horn too. That's really Twinsky right there. I do really love that One Piece Loki and Marvel Loki have the horns in some way, shape, or form, bruh. That's fire. Marvel Loki's horns are like probably my favorite part about the whole character's design. I love that he always keeps the horns for the most part in all of his iterations, bruh. My favorite ever though is when his horns are like a crown instead of a big ass clunky helmet. The crown horns is so sleek, so chic, so tough, so elite. If One Piece Loki is like an S++ tier design, Marvel Loki when he got the crown horn instead of the big old helmet, that's like S. That's an S tier design. That's beautiful. Comparing Loki's pre-Elbaf silhouette versus his actual final design is so funny to me, dog. I know Oda always be doing this with his silhouetted characters, but dog, the entire vibe of this dude is completely different. Like the shape is not even remotely the same, bro. What? He fresh to death with the double sleeve tats too. Loki really is a saucy motherfucker. The pink hair is pretty fantastic too. This man was literally chained up in shackles the first time we met him, and he still has so much aura off the strength of the design alone. And then we actually got to see his conviction and warrior spirit when Shamrock and Gunko jumped him and slimed his mans. Loki is truly one of one. He looked Shamrock and Gunko dead in their eyes and said, look, who my mans, it's okay. He gonna die with a warrior spirit. I'll see you in Valhalla. What? That's some real shit, I think. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's some real shit. Right? The idea of Harden and Loki being warriors and pirates is so cool to me. It's almost paradoxical because pirates have no code, no honor, no nothing. They're just free down to the core. And then you look at a warrior and they have a code. They have a warrior's, I don't know, pride. They have like ethics of some kind. I don't know what they got going on. But there's a difference between a warrior, a pirate, and a soldier. And I think it's really interesting that Harden and Loki are both. Also, back to Marvel Loki. Rivals adding the Lady Loki skin is so fire. And I'm actually pretty pleasantly surprised at how cool Marvel is with depicting Loki's gender fluidity in other adaptations. Like that one TVA document from the series. Also, I never got to bring up Rox and Loki's relationship, but it's really cool and also kind of really heartbreaking that Loki's like, his response to not being loved in this world was to look at a man who didn't care about not being loved in this world and still pump his chest out and be free as hell. The world like be doodling on Rox too, but like he doesn't care. He's just so free and he's going to destroy this whole world in a sense. Like Loki's seen something in Rox that he literally to this day has not seen in anybody else. He might see it in Luffy. He's not gonna see it in Blackbeard. But like, bro, I truly do love Loki so much. I love Marvel Loki a lot and I love One Piece Loki a lot. But they're both characters I didn't care that much about at first, and then they won me over pretty quick, I'm not gonna lie. They're really not so different as characters, which I think is also really neat. Like, they probably would hate each other if they ever met, but I think Loki would hate a lot of Lokis if they ever met. Like, that was kind of what season 1 was about. But yeah, shout out Loki and shout out you.
I can't feel my face right now, I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come down.